come out of closed session.
Move. Second.
Motion made by Director Stewart, second by Vice President Webb. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. We're out of closed session at 6:04. At this time, we will move to open session. Public comment. We're going to go on to presentations. And PR1 in memoriam, Olaf Landsgaard. And I asked John Joyce if he would be kind enough to say some words for Olaf, probably the one man in this community next to his family that probably knows him best. And so at this time, John, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Olaf was a newsmaker. Love him, hate him, you could never ignore him. He served this agency from the very start of his career as an attorney, as an officer of the court. He was the counsel for the agency. As his practice grew, he no longer did that, but he continued to comment on policy that the agency made, letters to the editor. He would speak at the RMAC or any other place that he had the opportunity to speak. He would get in his airplane and take overhead shots of the water bank being built, the wastewater treatment plant, of the renewable energy fields going in. Ole was there up in the sky taking a picture, sending it in to the Rosamond News, which we published. He worked very, very hard to communicate the current issues to the public. And as you know, it's the biggest battle of all to get the public to pay attention to any of the issues. He worked hard at it. In 1983, I decided to adjudicate the Rosamond News. Now, adjudicating a publication is not easy, even for people, attorneys that have done them before. Ole had never done one. When I went into his office, he said, but I want to do it. I'll do everything possible to learn all about it and consult. So I said, okay, Ole, keeping my fingers crossed, rather than go to an attorney in Bakersfield that had done it before. But Ole did. He pulled it, read all the laws, made sure we had all the documents. We took them to Bakersfield into Judge Oberholzer's court. The judge had never adjudicated a newspaper either. So we spent the whole afternoon going over the laws, going over Rosamond, going over our subscriber list of 250 subscribers at that time. And the judge correctly pointed out, doesn't matter the quantity of subscribers that you have. It depends on what you've published. So we had to take him 2 years of successive publications that showed that we had general information. We had sports, we had senior citizens, we had water district, we had, at that time there wasn't an RMAC, but we had a town council. We had all of that. He went through it very, very meticulously and finally granted us our adjudication at the end of the day. But that's just the first step. The second step is to go to Kern County and block out the areas of dominant influence, they call them ADIs, ADI blocks, and the county's all divided up. So Ted James, you remember Ted, and some of you maybe Byron, but that was a lengthy process to find out what were the ADI blocks for Rosamond. And Ole helped with that, we got that. And that was very important because public notices, state, federal, and county level have to be published in those ADI blocks. So we got that done. Ole learned a lot. I learned a lot about Ole. I learned that Ole's heart most all the time was in the right place, except I wasn't sure where that was some of the time. He was very generous with his time with people. I noticed that. If person was in trouble, he'd help them. And he kept commenting on the issues in front of the RCSD, and finally he decided to run. And he did, and he became a director. And our reporter would come back and tell me what Ole had said about different issues that she didn't understand. So, being fluent in Oleese, I tried to translate what he really meant. But the tribute to Olaf Landsgaard has to be, he was committed to Rosamond. He tried to lend his expertise to develop programs that would be good for Rosamond people. And by gosh, he was a newsmaker. He made news, he stirred up the pot, he got people thinking, even if they didn't agree with him, they couldn't ignore what he said. So we will miss Olaf Landsgaard on the RCSD board, but also as a person here in Rosamond. I have to note that he was always very kind, respectful, and generous to Amanda, the reporter that covers the meetings, and I'd like for her to say something.
I have a couple words. I only knew Olaf for a short period of time. It was sad to hear about his passing, but from the time that I knew Olaf, he always made me feel welcome coming to the Tuesday night meetings. And if I had any questions, he sure had answers. Even outside of the RCSD, he would say hi when seeing me at events. And one thing I know about him, or knew about him, is that he always took every chance he could to sing the national anthem at the chamber. That's it. Thank you.
I can't get it up on my iPad. Do you have a copy of the resolution?
Mr. President, I'd like to say a couple words about Olaf. Life takes you down many different roads, and Olaf, like the rest of the Landsgaard family, was extremely active in his community. And as a board member recently, in the past 4 years, he lived up to the motto of service before self. And I think that his service, many people that give of themselves to serve their community don't always get accolades, don't always end up on a side of a positive note. Many do, but some don't. And for that, it's an extremely difficult thing to serve your community community and your fellow man. So with that, I think that Olaf, I think it's proper and commended him for outstanding service to his community. And he certainly did what he believed in, and commended him for that is proper.
Rick, would you like to say a few words?
You know, I remember years ago when he was running for judge, and he gives me this pin here, and he's running for judge, and he got my wife all on board, and he got hammered in the election, but he's still willing to try to do it. And like John said, whether you like him or not like him, he advocated for that he thought was important. I mean, we talked about the bike, having the bike routes up here and whatnot. Everything he did, and the irony, him and his brother both, they always talked about doing stuff up in the community we all spoke of. And I guess life throws you a strange curveball, but I had my challenges with Olaf, but at the end of the day, he'd always shake my hand when he called me to draw and start over again. So that's a sign of a real person. Let your bygones be your bygones. But unique man, very unique. Yeah. Thank you.
Washington?
Yeah, I didn't have any comments.
I first met Olaf that I can remember meeting him when I was 14. I was goofing off in school. My mom decided that she was going to take us to a Toastmasters meeting she went to every Tuesday night at Home Hall. And he encouraged me to stand up and start speaking. And I joined Toastmasters for about 2 years with him and his mom Marion and my grandmother. And he encouraged me to talk, and I think it opened doors up for me. And then years later, I had him come talk to the Cub Scouts for they had to have an elected official come talk, and came talk. And if you know Olaf, I don't think he speaks what 6 and 7-year-olds will understand, but he talked for about a good 20 minutes, and I felt like they got an idea what RCSD did. And at the end of it, he asked me what I was doing. I told him I was doing for a job, and then again, he encouraged me at that time. He says, I think you should run for RCSD's board of directors. And we used to meet about once a month and go to lunch and just talk, and he'd teach me the history of Rosamond and RCSD and how we got to where we're at, and never pushed anything on me. I mean, we'd text here and there during the week, and I was shocked to hear about it. So definitely to be missed. The guy was 100% committed to Rosamond and community service.
I first met Ole when he was in the 7th grade, and I coached. And from that day on, he never called me Mr. Glennon or Byron, he called me Coach. And it was always Coach. And I get that from a few people, but most of them have moved on and so on. But it's kind of a title that I can't explain it to you unless you've coached people and they call you Coach. It's a different relationship. And he was a visionary, and visionaries usually stir up the pot. And sometimes their vision is something that's really going to go, and sometimes their vision is one that gets lots of negative comments. But his vision was to make Rosamond better than it is today. And it wasn't the Antelope Valley, it wasn't Kern County, the focus was on Rosamond. And I think you can almost say that for the whole Landsgaard family. But it's been a tough season for the Landsgaards, and so any of you who really know them, don't hesitate to go up and say something encouraging. Sometimes it's easy just to not say anything because you don't know what to say, but just a simple "I was thinking about you" is, and that's all you have to say. But history of Rosamond has Landsgaards built into it, and Olaf is, right along with Daniel and Henry and all the rest of them, the girls, is built there.
You know, I knew Olaf for many years, but I didn't know him as well as his brother Daniel. Daniel and I served on this board together. But nevertheless, you cannot question the passion that Olaf had for this community. Did we always agree on everything? No, of course not. But that's the beauty of people in this community. And you know, and every person that has ever thrown their hat in the ring to run for school board, this board, the RMAC, or any other public office, you know, you have to admire that person and take your hat off to them. And whether you agree with their ideas or not, or their philosophy or their way of doing things. Because any person that has that much passion for their community to step up to the plate and help out the community in their way deserves nothing but praise and admiration from everybody living in this community. You know, Olaf served this community with pride and distinction and honor. And, you know, I am really getting tired of doing these. You know, people that meet are dear to this community, Daniel, Russell, Olaf, you know, I'm hoping I don't ever have to have another one of these resolutions again, because that means another member and outstanding citizen in this community has passed away. And Olaf was a good man, and he loved this community. And I agree with what Byron said. You can't say the Landsgaard name without thinking of Rosamond. Their handprints and thumbprints are all over this community and every corner of it. And it's a great contributing family to the success of where Rosamond is today. And so with that, are there any other comments that anybody would like to make? With that, we'll move on to item A. I'm going to read the resolution. Resolution number 2018-29. A resolution of the Board of Directors of the Rosamond Community Services District, Kern County, California, commending Olaf Landsgaard for his service to the district. Whereas Mr. Olaf Landsgaard served as Board of Director of the Rosamond Community Services District, RCSD, and whereas the Board of Directors formally acknowledges and extends its profound appreciation to Mr. Landsgaard for his 4 years of service, and whereas his service was based upon the best interests of the district and the community. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors in consideration of the premises above given as follows. Section 1. The board by this means expresses its appreciation to Olaf Landsgaard for his service and dedication to RCSD. Section 2. Mr. Landsgaard is worthy of admiration, respect, and gratitude. Passed and adopted by the Board of Directors at a regular board meeting held on this 26th day of June, 2019. And at this point, I would like to get a motion to adopt resolution number 2018-29.
Moved. Second.
Motion was made by Director Stewart, seconded by Vice President Webb. Roll call vote.
President Redwood,
Yes.
Vice President Rick Webb,
Yes.
Director Gregory Washington,
Yes.
Director Byron Lennon,
Yes.
Director Ben Stewart.
Yes.
Motion passes with 5 ayes. Excuse me. And again, thank you, John, for saying these kind words tonight. And
Thank you for the thoughtfulness of the invitation. Not to go to the school board meeting.
Bye.
okay, with this one, we're going to move on to the minutes. M1 through 3. Do I get a motion to
Motion approved.
second? made by Vice President Webb, seconded by Director Glennon. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Consent calendar, CC1. And have a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Move.
Motion is made by Director Stewart, seconded by Director Webb. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, at public hearing, PH1 2019-2020 final budget adoption. Let the record show that this public hearing was continued from the June 12th regular board meeting. And at this time, we will continue with the public hearing. And any final presentation on this, Steve?
I would turn to staff for a staff report on just on the budget. I don't believe that was given the other night, was it?
The staff report's been available since the meeting as well. And the only change that was made would be more prudent for you to present for the Finance Committee meeting on Friday.
Okay. Because of the continuance, I needed more time coming into a budget the day that you're appointed. Without benefit of discussion of the budget is rather difficult, and to understand what some of the items are in the budget and ask some questions at the 11th hour were fitting, especially that we had another meeting to adopt this budget. One of the items was in water funds for acquisition of water properties to secure a permanent water supply for the district. There was stuff that I learned that I didn't know coming in to this session about the water situations throughout the valley and the adjudication. As part of the board's aware, I was part of the adjudication and was well versed in the legalities of the adjudication, but not in the finalization and the adoption of the water master and some of the rules that have been taken on since my departure. And after learning that, we are in probably a very good position right now to slow down, prepare, and move forward and not impact this budget so quickly. But at such time that items would present themselves, it's not uncommon for boards to take on a quarter review or a mid-year review of their budget and make adjustments, whether it be up or down. And that satisfied me to suggest that we remove the $1 million that we had set aside and then move on through this at a slower pace, but a determinate pace to secure those water rights. The second item came to my attention and was, partly part of a focus that I had along with a couple board members in the past that I was here, and renewing some of those contacts with brief discussions of funding. I felt it necessary that we take another look at what we were doing on that line and focus on what we could do for the building this plant and move forward with the outside funding for a more expansive project. After discussing those, I would recommend that the board that has had the staff report in front of them and the budget to move forward with adoption. However, there's still a couple questions that I got received late, and I believe that those have been corrected internally. One was a discussion and an item was not changed. It was an oversight, but not intentionally. It was brought to my attention this morning, and I had not been able to get to you, Mr. President, to advise you of that change or that explanation. If you need further explanation on that item, Brock is here to expand on that. But suffice it to say, those items of question, the items that are in the budget of any large amount will come back and to the board as advisements that we are going to be moving forward on those with refined numbers. Many times you don't have the exact number to throw into a budget, so you do an estimate and place it into the budget as a placeholder. We'll come back with those at a proper time that we're going to move forward with them and advise the board at that time, and we can take up discussion on the item at that time.
And I sent you the email that I had 3 concerns, and I'm fine with it as long as you're aware of the concerns, you and staff, and that, you know, we don't need to change anything in the budget in regards to it, but just to keep those questions in mind as we move forward, you know, before we execute, you know, any kind of expenditures in those areas.
That's my intention. That third item regarding the truck, I looked at the updated capital project list, and it was corrected also. Your thoughts of, are we spending this much for that? Or no, it was the crane truck. It was reduced from that number that you and I both spoke of, the $79,000. It appears it's closer to a $50,000 number. And I think it would be fitting if you were to ask the question of staff of what that revenue is going to be spent for on that particular truck. Unfortunately, absent that discussion, I can't tell you.
Right. Well, $50,000 seems more in line with possibly re-engine of the vehicle. Is that correct, Brock?
Yeah, the original estimate that was in that budget was a $79,000 number. At that time, we didn't have an estimate for the engine replacement of the truck, so we, myself and Brad, at a last-minute decision, we decided to throw a used crane truck that was tier compliant in the budget. So that was just as a placeholder until we received a better estimate. So the $79,000 was actually a replacement as a used truck, not just a rebuilt engine for that existing truck.
That was my concern, because I didn't know what that $79,000 was for. Was it to make repairs to this one or to purchase another one?
No, that was a new truck that meets the 2010 emission standards.
A used truck?
Yeah, a used truck meeting the 2010 emission standards.
Greg, I have a question. The checks that I've been signing get hooked. Is that what that is?
That is, yeah, they're a contract crane service that we've been using at the wastewater treatment plant.
And it's significant cost every time we call them up, isn't it?
It is, but it's a necessary cost.
Yeah, right.
Unfortunately, our boom truck, even if they didn't decertify it to a lower weight, wouldn't be able to handle pulling the well pumps out. It's just not big enough for it. That's all the questions I had on it, Steve. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we will take receipt of public testimony on the budget. And being as there is no public testimony, any director comments that you want to address or make on the budget?
No, I don't have any comments.
Okay, at this time, we will close the public hearing and move on to item B, adopt resolution number 2018-26, adopting the annual budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020. Have a motion? Motion made by Director Glennon.
Second.
And seconded by Director Washington. Any other discussion on this?
Yeah, just one comment. Thank you
Yes.
guys very much. A lot went into this, so thank you for the effort. Thank you, staff, for that. I'll work with you on that, so thank you guys.
Yes, thank you very much. You guys did a great job. Okay, the roll call vote?
President Greg Wood,
Yes.
Vice President Rick Webb,
Yes.
Director Gregory Washington,
Yes.
Director Byron Glennon,
Yes.
Director Ben Stewart.
Yes.
And the resolution passes 5-0. Okay, new business. New business one, approves Steve Perez's employment agreement dated June 12, 2019, and presenter is Joe Hughes, legal counsel.
Okay, thank you. If you will recall at the last board meeting, we placed on the agenda as a matter that required action before the next regular board meeting, which is today, the approval in open session of Steve Perez's contract. So board took action on that, it was added to the agenda, and then as we came out of closed session, took that matter up. And the board approved Steve Perez's contract again on the open session agenda after the board had added it. After the meeting, it came to my attention that there was some concern about whether it was appropriate to handle it in that manner. The contract has to be approved in open session, as you did, and so again, I learned that there was some concern about how it was handled, particularly adding it to the agenda. And so, having represented public agencies for most of my career, items like this, it's not worth the debate in terms of, well, did you do it right, did you do it wrong? The easy fix for something like that is to back up, put it on the next agenda, and like we do what we're doing tonight, and ask you to take the action again. Because again, we can debate things all day long, and from the lawyer's standpoint, that's what we do. But this district, as we've come to find out over the last few months, has a lot to do. We've got the people's business to conduct, and so it was my advice that we not take up staff time and resources in debating an agenda issue. And so what I asked staff to do is just put it on the agenda for tonight's meeting and ask you to take action on it.
And do we have to approve this retroactive to June 12th?
You're approving the contract, and the date of the contract was June 12th.
Okay. All right. New business one, approved. We've already read the deal. Do you have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve as presented to us by the legal.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion is made by Vice President Webb, second by Director Stewart. Any further discussion? All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. New business two, cancel the regular board meeting schedule for July 10th, 2019. Presenter Steve Perez, General Manager.
On July 10th, myself as well as the president of the board are scheduled to be at Lahontan in Bishop, California. And with that, I asked if we could move the board meeting to the very next day, reschedule it to the 11th instead of the 10th. Since I've learned that we can't just move and reschedule a regular meeting. So absent that, I'm asking that we cancel the meeting of the 10th and move our business to the regular meeting at the end of the month. If for some reason that we have an item that needs attention, we can always call a special meeting.
Okay. All right, and
I have a question. Do you two promise that you won't go fishing in Bishop?
No.
I might take my little bamboo pole, I don't know. But this meeting on July 10th is very important for this agency. And looks like everything is gonna go good, but you just gotta be prepared and be ready for it. And Steve has got a lot of homework in front of him and to get himself set up. also, we could have one more director go if another director wishes to go without having a quorum.
And I might add, we also have staff going, John's going, and if another board member goes, I think it's good to have the showing in front of the regulatory board. It shows the interest of our board to comply with their directives, if you will.
Yes. And is Brock going to be able to make it as well?
I'm not sure.
Unfortunately, I scheduled our annual safety training that same week before the La Hot region meeting was scheduled, so I will stick around and complete my annual safety training with staff.
I know it's important, but maybe we should leave other management people here. You know, communication is the band. I mean, our road is up north, it's 6 hours. So maybe we should leave someone kind of close. Move about. So, but you'll be here, Brock, huh?
I will be here.
I mean, in close proximity.
Yeah, here in this room.
Oh, okay, there you go.
That'd be great. All right.
Well, Brian, you want to go?
My schedule is such I could go. Do you think it would make it better?
I think it would be well worth the show of interest from our board.
I think you should go, Byron.
But I don't fish, so.
You can't go fishing either.
Somebody's got to pay the hooks.
Nobody said anything about fishing?
I don't know where you guys getting fishing. I'll be on the road the entire time.
I'm going to be working.
I've listened to Greg and both you talking about Lone Pine fishing. That area.
Lone Pine's a long way from Bishop. Okay, so we have a motion to cancel the regular board meeting scheduled for July 10th, 2019.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion is made by Director Washington, second by Director Stewart. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, new business 3, new positions, management analyst and customer service assistant. Steve?
Well, again, I'm on here as the presenter, and I need to turn to staff on the issue because I haven't been brought up to speed. I know this was Lizette's item that she had placed on the board and discussed with some of the board members, or John, do you have a briefing on that item?
Just that I believe it was brought to you guys' attention the last board meeting, and there was a reason because it wasn't in the budget wasn't approved, that we held off on adding the positions.
I'd like to table this. We did talk about it in personnel, but she'll be back next meeting, right? No more. Let's table it, if you could, until she gets back, so she can discuss it and tell us what's going on.
Is there going to be any pressing anything to hold off on this until the next one?
No, I just know that she was getting ready to get that person on board as soon as possible.
Well, if the person has been hired,
No, and that's all part of it.
you can let them know to hold off another week, not 2 weeks. I mean, I'm just saying, let's just go ahead and get it right.
It's going to be a month because we just canceled.
Well, that's
the
okay,
10th.
2 weeks. We got enough disasters pending beside that. So I'd like to make a motion to table it.
Can I
Go ahead,
jump in for a second? In your budget, is this position budgeted for?
Yes.
Yes.
I thought it was budgeted.
Yeah.
They both are.
Okay, so if you approved it in your budget,
So we're good.
it means you're going forward with it.
Yeah, it was just the discussion that, based on the question about the positions.
Well, I was part of that, and I'll just share what I have with the
Please.
board members kind of understanding. With some of the workload that's come up, and some of the things that were going on, that management analyst position, we discussed about having it there to help adjust some of the workload from the assistant GM and GM position. And so I don't know all the details of it, but I do know that we had discussed it. Who was in that meeting that Monday? Was that you, Kevin? You guys talked about that?
I think I was in a policy meeting.
Oh, policy, okay, yeah. Anyway, that's how I kind of came out to help kind of balance on the work for the GM and assistant.
And I do know that the budget's reflective of the two
Yeah,
positions.
yeah.
And that would bring me to, do you want to put it off still or move
They're
forward?
good with it as far as understanding the algorithm. I just want everybody to kind of know how to came about the origins of it.
Lizette had gone over with me a little bit. You know, I can't recall a lot of the details, but, you know, she said it was going to be on the budget, and I wish she was here to give more in-depth discussion to it. I mean, I have no doubt that the positions are justified and needed, and because it was put into the budget, but it's going back quite a ways to recall all the details on this, and so.
But I can have her do a report on it and report on those two positions that have been approved in the budget at the next regular meeting. That way you'll have the benefit of knowing exactly the mind or the thoughts on behind it.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion to table.
Well, we can, okay.
You can rescind the motion. You can rescind.
Yeah, okay, so let's do this. I would send a motion to table. Item A of new business, 3, and the grants will send the motion to table.
A and B.
No, I'm just talking about the A. So I just would send a motion to table.
Okay. All right, motion to table has been rescinded. Do I have a motion to approve the new positions and adopt resolution number 2018-27 and for item A?
Second.
Motion made by Director Glennon, seconded by Director Washington on item A, resolution 2018-27. There'll be a roll call vote.
President Greg Wood,
Yes.
Vice President Rick Webb,
Yes.
Director Gregory Washington,
Yes.
Director Byron Glennon.
Yes.
Director Ben Stewart.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Resolution passes 5-0. Okay, item B, adopt the salary schedule for the management analyst and customer service assistant positions. And those again are in the budget.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Okay, motion is made by Vice President Webb, seconded by Director Washington. All in favor of adopting item B? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, new business 4, nominate Bob Swan, Sandy Seifert Raffleson, and James M. Hamlin to the SDRMA Board of Directors and approve the official election ballot. And presenter, Steve?
I just reached out briefly to get some intel on all the candidates, and this is a recommendation I came up with. Bob Swan and Sandy Raffleson are both incumbents. I have worked with both of them in the past. I know them both, and I know they're dedicated to those positions, so that one's easy. James Hamlin, I learned, was dedicated to helping the cause of the mission of the SDRMA, and felt that that would probably be a good fit for your nomination.
Any comments? Do you have a motion?
Motion that we accept the nomination as presented.
Second?
Second.
Motion made by Vice President Webb, seconded by Director Stewart. Roll call vote?
President Greg Wood,
Yes.
Vice President Rick Webb,
Yes.
Director Gregory Washington,
Yes.
Director Byron Glennon,
Yes.
Director Ben Stewart.
Yes.
Okay, Director reports, comments, future agenda items. All right, and General Counsel
Hey,
update?
Greg, real quick,
Yes.
I do have a real quick. John, I have a question. Are we responsible for the fire hydrants in the community?
Responsible for them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I know this might sound-
Which part specifically?
The paint of it.
The fire department handles that as part of a maintenance contract.
The paint, okay. Well, maybe They look terrible. I know it's no big deal once the water comes out of them, but you know how the community looks runs them. Or maybe you guys should go over there and say, I know they'll probably say there's no finance report. So, but they look kind of terrible. The other thing I have, and I'll wait till they're done, but this is kind of direct. But anyway, that's what the question I had about the fire.
Who flushes them?
The fire department. And we renewed that agreement with them on an annual basis.
Okay, Steve, this is for you. I would like to see Miss Natalia, and she's come in with concerns before, and we really have no way of tracking them. And I'd like a file or a sale or whatever, that we come up with some way when folks have concerns, we can start tracking them. Because first of all, she walked in here, and she said that you were the GM that was rude to her. Okay? And first of all, we should never have someone from the community say that that's number one. But we need a tracking system that we give them a tracking number or whatever, so if they ever come back and say nothing wasn't done. John said it's been out there, but I'd like to have some kind of record to show that we're doing our due diligence. So either Excel or whatever, so we can give them, generate a number, whatever. From here, 1901 or whatever, and the little comments there, so we can track this stuff. Because she came in here and said that something had happened, that something wasn't being done, and John had been out there. And we weren't the person being rude, but we have a record. So something so we can track it.
The Zet had tracked that and briefed me on it and told me each step that she had taken. We took it on first. John went out. She ultimately went because it was on their property and not something.
Oh, no, I'm not challenging. I'm just saying I want to ensure that we have a tracking system, but just not one person has access to it. Because I want to make sure that when folks come in here, we can show them that we're doing our job.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So we do have a tracking system with our work orders and the SIMS program. We can pull up all the work orders that we went to that property. We have, for her particularly, we have emails and meter reports also.
Yeah, I know. No, I know we have that. I'm talking about for complaint type thing. When people come in for a complaint type thing, because we're not going to show them the work order. We're going to show them something that we have, that we are addressing concerns with.
Zet has it documented.
Huh?
The Zet has that
Okay,
documented.
well, I'd like to have something that we can see that we can show them. Okay, thank you, sir. That's all I have here.
General counsel update?
Nothing to update.
General manager update, Steve?
Well, it shows that I have a budget presentation award, and this is the first time I've seen or heard of it. And I think it's to have one of these distinguished awards, I think should go to Brad to explain and bring to your attention. Brad?
Thank you, Steve. The Government Finance Officers Association is a North American regulatory body that helps finance officers and finance departments of municipal organizations stay within the regulations, issues white papers on best practices, works with the GASB, the Government Accountable Standings Board, to ensure compliance with and uniformity of the governmental accounting standards that come out periodically. They issue a budget award for municipalities that apply for and meet a rigorous set of criteria. This is the checklist of items that are required to be in the budget as mandatory items. Those are just the mandatory items. Then there are elective items as well that can be added for the benefit of the reader. For years, this organization has put together more and more detail in the budget, and last year we made the final push to put together a budget document that met these requirements, and we have just been recently notified that we have been awarded the Officers Association, I think, to my knowledge, for the first time ever. So it was a big push. It included all of our staff, administrative staff, public works staff, the board, the former general manager, as well as the consultative staff here in the finance department. Took us several months to put together the document that is now available on the website for the community. But the purpose of putting together a document that meets these rigorous criteria is twofold. The first of which is to meet a high level standard that is applied across the United States and Canada. The second of which is to be more informative to the user and not just a bunch of numbers, because as we've all learned through the budget process, most of us don't understand the numbers. So the narrative within the numbers, within the document, its purpose is to help kind of explain in more layman's term what the projects are, where we're spending the money, why we're doing it, how it aligns with the master plan and the rate study, so that people who aren't financial professionals are capable of looking at it and understanding where their money's going. So I'd just like to applaud staff here in the district. Congratulations for the first time of getting the budget award from the GFOA, and we'll hopefully perpetuate that and make it a habit around here. So congratulations.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Brad, for all of your hard work and dedication, because it couldn't have happened without you. And with that, Assistant General Manager update, John?
No update.
And finance update, Brad, got any more to say?
I do not.
And Director of Public Works update, Doc?
I have three things. The month of June always seems to be our busiest month for service line leaks here at the district. So far this month, we've had 24 service line leaks that Public Works staff has repaired. Surprisingly, that is down from last year, so that's a good thing for us, but we continue to repair those service lines on a daily basis. Hopefully that slows down soon. The wastewater treatment plant project continues with our percolation test. We have so far percolated 42 acre feet of water since we started on May 8th. And finally, the 2018 Consumer Confidence Report is available to the public, and it is posted on our website.
Very good. Thank you, Rob. And Director of Administration, Lizette is not here. And with that, I will take a motion for adjournment. Moved. Second. Motion made by Director Stewart, second by Director Washington. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned at 6:56.